Welcome to Eventful Endeavors, secrets to crafting the perfect celebration. If you're planning an event and looking for useful tips from industry experts, you're in the right place. So get ready to take some notes and we'll dive right in. This is Eventful Endeavors.
Hello, everyone. This is Eventful Endeavors. I am your host, Katie Louise. I'm here today with Cassie Beale from Morning Shade Farm. Cassie, welcome to the podcast.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So Cassie and I met over the phone a couple of weeks ago. Cassie, tell us about Morning Shade Farm. So what town are you in? How long have you owned it? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
We're south of Canby, Oregon, about 7 miles. And my husband and I bought this property in 1992, and it was kind of an overgrown, it had belonged to an elderly couple, so it was neglected. And we cleared the land and planted blueberries and fixed up the old farmhouse. Originally, Clackamas County had told us we'd be able to sell that house in a couple acres, but then so we fixed it up, which we were going to tear it down. And then they told us that they changed their rule after we went back and said, okay, we're ready to sell it with 2 acres. They vacated their own rule and didn't grandfather us in.
Interesting.
So that was a bit of a nightmare because we had sunk all our capital into fixing up this tear down house.
You weren't able to sell a house?
Well, so in Oregon, farmland that's zoned for farmland has restrictions on what you can do. And so, I mean, we knew that. We knew it was EFU zoned when we bought it, but we went in to apply for the permit to tear down that house. And the county person told us that they had this rule. They showed us, they gave us a copy of it that said, we could partition the house and 2 acres off and sell it. It's a 78-acre property. And we're like, well, okay, that would be good because, get a little money back out to build with because we always intended to build a new house here. But they said, well, a couple things, you have to be living there. And it was actually it was a tear down house. It had been used for migrant housing. It was in, pretty much horrible shape. We basically moved in and gutted the place and fixed it up and then went back. So that took us, 4 or 5 months. And then we went back to the county and said, okay, now we're applying to partition it off with the 2 acres like you told us under your rule. And then it turned out that Thousand Friends of Oregon, one of our neighbors was connected up with them, and the county sent out a notice saying we were trying to partition the property, which I think some people may have interpreted as splitting it up into small acreages or something, which wasn't what we were doing. But anyway, so the county allows other people to protest on your land use applications. So someone protested, this old lady that we didn't even know down the road, didn't even come and talk to us and ask us what we were trying to do or anything. And so the county said, oh, well, okay, we'll throw our rule out. Basically, that's the short version of the story. Anyway, and we said, well, wait a minute. You encouraged us. We dumped a lot of capital into fixing up this house, and now you're telling us we can't do what you told us we could do. So we took them to the Land Use Board of Appeals and lost. So we were stuck then. We had put everything into fixing that house up because we thought we could sell it instead of tearing it down. And so we lived there for 7 years. It was a tiny little house. I mean, the kids' bedroom.
So frustrating.
3 kids, they were stacked in a 7 by 9 foot bedroom, stacked literally. And we lived there for 7 years while we went on through another county process to split the 80 acres into 2 40-acre pieces and be able to build on the other 40-acre piece. So that took several years and, of course, legal costs. And meanwhile, we cleared the land and planted the blueberry fields and, got the farm business started. And eventually the county, after another nightmare long process, gave us a permit to build our new house. And so then in 1999, we built the farmhouse that's here now, that we live in now. And then in 2012, we built the barn and a garage and, started up being able to have it as both a venue and then the blueberries. Although we're sort of lackadaisical about the venue. I only do maybe 8 or 10 weddings a year. It's a side gig. It's not the main thing. Our main thing is we have you pick blueberries, and we have 10 acres in blueberries, and then we have a bunch of other fruit and berries. And we do you
What
pick.
other fruit do you have?
Marions and boysen's and raspberries and elderberries and black currants and apples and pears and Asian pears and some plums, not too
Do
many.
you sell, I love Marionberry. Do you sell do you do any jams or like syrups or anything like that?
We make black currant jam. And just because
Cool.
we have black currants and then I sell some, my brother also is growing black currants for like a half acre. So we make the jam just to get people started on it, because if you've ever tasted black currant jam, you want more. And
I have never tasted black currant jam. I've tasted Marionberry, and it's quite it's like the most delicious jam I've ever had, but black currant jam I have not. I have to try it.
I'd say black currant jelly comes pretty close, if not better. It's just a really different flavor. It's common in Europe. And so we get, on the U-Pick, we get we have such a wide variety of people that come for U-Pick, from all over. And it's been fun to see it.
That's like your bread and butter is the U-Pick?
It is now. My husband and I both worked full-time when we were starting this place up. You can't actually make a farm business without second income in Oregon anymore. Land is too expensive. It would be really difficult for someone without, backup jobs to start a farm now. But
so what was it like? Bring me back to 1992 or, even the years prior where you decided to do this. Tell me a little bit about it.
Well, Jim and I always wanted to live out of the city. And we finished college and moved to Portland in 1984, and we're living and working up there and looking for property and trying to save up money for a down payment. But I don't know, in those years, property values were just going up so much every year that however much we saved for the down payment each year, the prices went up more than that. And so we kept kind of looking farther and farther out. And the other thing that's kind of an effect of Oregon's zoning rules is that if you're looking for 5 acres or you're looking for 20 acres, the price for 20 acres is not normally 4 times the price of a 5-acre place. And that's because typically it's zoned that way. And so it can't be sold as a smaller acreage. So anyway, we ended up Jim found this place and he brought me out here and I'm like, oh my, we literally had to climb a ladder to look around because it was so overgrown. And the farmhouse was really nasty, but we thought, oh, well, 80 acres. I don't know. We were just brave. Brave or stupid.
When you and your husband were looking for a property, did you know you wanted to have a farm? Or were you just looking for a little bit?
We were kind of not quite so ambitious as this. We were looking.
That's 80 acres, right?
We were originally looking for a smaller place, but we really liked the Stafford area, but what happened to prices up there. You just, people like us just, by the time we had money for a down payment.
It sounds like 2026 to me, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we were just chasing it. And then we just thought, oh, well, what the hell? I don't know. We just, we knew it was a pretty property underneath the laws. And but
it's scary, right? Okay, so you said it was overgrown when you bought it. So was there any produce there when you bought it? Anything planted?
No, it had been planted as a nursery, and then the guy with trees, like fir trees and pine trees, and then the person who owned it was elderly and unable to keep it up and didn't get them sold, and so they were by then, 15 to 20-year-old trees. So, not big enough for timber or anything, planted too densely to grow out as a forest anyway. And that wasn't what we wanted to do. So we did a lot of bulldozer work.
Well, that must
And
have been fun.
well, Jim did most of it. I had 3 kids. So,
Yeah.
and so, it sounds, I look back and think, how did we do it? But this, it was spread over many years because we were by then stuck in that house for those 7 years. So the work to clear the land. So we're farming about 20 acres now out of the 80. The rest is, kind of either in forest or it was in forest and now the trees are sick and dying because of that fir borer, or kind of swampy bottom land that there's a creek that runs through that floods up in the wintertime. So not farmable. And anyway, 20 acres is enough. I'm here to tell you, especially when you get to be my age.
Yeah, sure. Well, so do you have employees running, or is
I
it?
have one full-time employee year round, or mostly year round. He gets a good long vacation at Christmas time. And then we hire people to prune in February. A crew comes in, and then pickers, and then people working on the farm stand when the U-Pick is open. So this place is really busy in June and late June and through mid-August. It's pretty crazy busy here.
And what about your kids? Do your kids
Well, so
work on the
that
farm?
right now, so my husband died 2 years ago, and so we're just in the process of switching over. I
Yeah.
sold the farmhouse to my daughter.
Oh, nice. So she's
And
nearby.
yeah, they lived nearby anyway. And her husband had already bought a portion of the farm that was the nursery business from us about 5 years ago. And so they and their 3 kids are moving into the farmhouse now.
Is it the same one that she grew up in? The tiny one?
Yes. No, well, so no, it's the one we built. No, but
Oh, the one you
yeah.
built.
Yeah. So she lived in the tiny one from when she was, let's say, 4 to almost 10, I guess, and then lived in the big house after that.
It's funny. It reminds me. I bet she has like some special memories. Because it reminds me a little bit of Little House on the Prairie, where like they're all cramped in this tiny space, but then they have just like the biggest yard that you could ever imagine,
Yeah.
and swamps and everywhere they can go out and play with. They don't need to be inside, right? They just
Right.
just need to
Well,
sleep
we
and then
got
they can go
kicked out
back.
a lot because that house was crowded. Yeah. Yeah. No,
Yeah,
she's definitely really, she has a day job that's, more lucrative than farming, but she's definitely committed to being here and raising her kids here and
yeah,
starting the next generation. Handing off the work of the farm is another thing, though, because her husband's already full on
right,
in the nursery. He can't take on anymore, really. He helps a lot on this farm besides the nursery work, but it sort of catch can, he can't have, he can't take on this
right.
season. And my
Yeah,
other kids are off on other things, so I'm still doing it.
yeah.
I'll be 71 this year, and I really wanna,
Wow.
I'm counting the years till my oldest grandson is old enough to,
How old
keep
is your oldest
him around.
grandson?
He's 8, so I got a long wait, but,
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, but you know what? What you can start working at what, 12 in Oregon? I don't know. What are the laws?
yeah, on your own family farm, you can start working when you walk. That's pretty much
Yeah.
it. When my kids were
Yeah.
little and we were clearing the land, we spent so many hours out, like, picking up sticks because when you clear the trees out, it leaves a mess. But anyway,
Yeah.
so that's their earliest memories probably of this place. But, yeah, and I have great employees. I'm really lucky both with the pickers. I have a good crew that comes back from year to year. I try to make sure we, pay a little better than other farms so they come back,
Yeah.
and thank goodness for cell phones, because it used to be when we first started, and you're getting pickers who are migrant people, you couldn't, there was no way to call them back from year to year. So that's been a huge change, that I can stay in contact with
Interesting.
people through the year. I used to have to just
Yeah.
pray when it was time for pickers to show up. We'd hang signs out and, hope they
Wow.
come. But now it's
That's
way better,
so
and I
fascinating.
have just a core crew, and, sometimes they'll bring cousins and stuff. So, I've been really lucky that way, and
So you
a
gotta
couple
start
of
saying, so anyone want to buy the farm? I'll go move in with my daughter, right?
right, yeah. Well, it's the farm and the house aren't, back to the story of splitting off the 40 acres. You can't sell them independent of each other, so they're stuck
Oh,
together.
interesting.
She bought in, and so she's now a co-owner of the whole place, and that was
Gotcha.
a way to get.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go back and build a new house on the other property that had the old house. When I went back in and asked the county about it now, 30 years later, they said, yeah, you can build a replacement house for that old farmhouse, which they didn't let us do back then, but now,
Yeah.
so I have a permit now. So that's kind of the plan for handing off at least some of it to
Some of
the
it, yeah.
next generation. But
Yeah.
it's really just, and it's, I have so many U-Pick customers that are regulars that come back year after year and tell me
Mm-hmm.
how much they love being here, and
Well,
it keeps me going.
yeah. I mean, how many years left do you feel like you have in you?
Well, you know,
You're like -5.
probably dropping the harness. I don't know. Wish my husband had stuck around longer, but yeah.
So, tell me a little bit about your weddings. How long ago did you start doing them?
Well, we built the barn in 2012, and the first wedding in there was my daughter. And that was a bit of a mad scramble because the building wasn't quite done yet. But luckily, she's got a bunch of great friends. And so a whole bunch of people showed up and camped out and helped us
Oh,
pull the last of it together. So it was a big, long party, that wedding,
that's
which
fun.
was fun. But, then probably we didn't do anything the next year, but then the year after that, we did a few friends and family kind of things, and it just started up slowly that way. So now I just occasionally, I mean, my daughter occasionally posts an ad on Facebook for me, and we'll, schedule a couple events in, but
And you said you do about 8 a year?
yeah, well, it- since my husband died, I sort of got lazy about advertising, because what happens is the weddings they want to happen in June and July. And
And that's your busy season for picking, right?
I'm already working 16-hour days in those
Yeah.
months. So I got really lazy about advertising the venue for a couple years there. We're only just now kind of getting back on the horse about that, because
Yeah.
it was this will be my third year of, the summer full farm thing without him. And certainly the first 2 years were pretty overwhelming.
I'm sure, yeah. You're doing twice as much work.
Well, maybe.
Or you're able to hire people, right? But it's still
Uh,
like a
yeah. And I'd say, yeah, I hired more people, and I'm doing more management, and other family members stepped up, especially that first year. The whole family really pitched in,
yeah.
helped a lot. My youngest daughter was around a lot that year, and she and her wife made a huge difference helping.
Oh, that's great.
But yeah, so, it's just kind of slog along, delegate where I
Yeah.
can.
Yeah. So how many weddings would you like to be doing a year? Are you comfortable with the 8, or like that's my sweet spot, or do you want to be doing more?
Uh,
Or is that
it may be a few more. The problem is we really don't have the bandwidth to do every weekend in June and July, and
right?
so I'd be happy to do quite a few more if they were, in the rest of the season, in the rest
Sure.
of the year.
Yeah.
But
Do you have heating in the barn?
Yeah, there's heating and air conditioning, although it's a big building, and on a hot day when there's a wedding, people tend to have the doors open and closing all the time, and it's a
Right.
struggle to keep it cool, but it definitely cools down.
But I bet it's beautiful in the winter, right? I mean, I know
It
Oregon
is.
doesn't get as much snow as some other places, but
Yeah,
um
it's really rare here now, used to be
yeah,
we get a few nice snows, but pretty
yeah,
rare. Yeah, it can be nice in the wintertime or even the shoulder seasons, spring. This was a beautiful spring. We've had beautiful days since,
yeah,
March.
yeah,
And after mid-August, when things start to slow down, September and October can be really pretty here too.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
those are
The
times.
leaves changing.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the fall sunsets. It's
So
pretty.
you had mentioned to me earlier before we were here at doing the podcast that you offer a lot in your package. So tell me a little bit about that. What do you offer
So
like brides?
Well, I don't know if it's a lot, but I do include tables and chairs and the dishes and silverware. And there's a commercial kitchen. You can see the
Wow,
pictures on the website. So
that's
the
amazing.
caterers can use the kitchen. And there's actually a sort of rudimentary elevator to haul stuff up because that venue room is on the second story of the barn. And the first floor of the barn is our food processing area. For
Oh,
the
okay.
blueberry processing. But so we used to do the catering too, but we haven't done that for a few
That's
years now.
too much. I mean, honestly, I do think that is a lot because most barn places, it's just like, here's a building. You do everything else, And
Yeah, yeah,
sourcing all of those little things, like even simple things like plates and chairs that, no pun intended, but it takes a lot off the bride's plate, right? She doesn't
yeah,
have
and
to
it
source all
packs up,
those things.
kind of ka-ching every little bit. I don't provide linens because I don't want to wash them, but
It's funny.
and then they can choose whoever they want for catering or however they want to do that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a nice setup. And I'm actually, because I don't schedule, a lot of the really serious venues are kind of booking them Saturday and Sunday or, packing them in there. And so you get this 5-hour window that you got to be sort of in and out. And I'm a lot more relaxed about that. So I let people set up like on Friday evening and then do the wedding
Oh,
on Saturday
that's
and
great.
then clear up on Sunday morning. And
Yeah,
that,
and I remember my wedding, like, our venue allowed us to set up a day earlier, and that is I mean, that's just night and day because you have all these things like, your table centers and your welcome signs. It's like, how are you supposed to do that the same like, you have to delegate it to somebody who may or may not know your vision. So as a
yeah.
bride, I feel like that's huge to be able to have it a day early.
Yeah, yeah, I think it makes everything a lot more relaxed,
Yeah.
and then because it's a working farm, the weddings have to be kind of evening weddings. We close at 3, so guests can come in at 4 or later. So that is one constraint if they want afternoon or morning, but most people wanna
Most people
serve
want
dinner
evenings.
anyway,
Yeah.
so
Do
it
you have
works out.
any space for the brides to get ready?
Yeah, in fact, we just added a new shop, so it's got a concrete floor, but it does have finished walls and ceiling. So,
Wow.
kind of just a
It's
bare.
amazing. How incredible it is that 1992 you and your husband bought this overgrown 80-acre piece of land and like all these things and buildings and you got a bridal suite and an elevator. Like that's cool. Like I think that's quite incredible. That's
Well,
amazing.
it sounds like a lot, but this accomplishment was spread over a really long time. You think about
Yeah, but
30
you
some
have a
years.
lot to show for it. It's awesome.
Yeah,
I think it's really awesome.
just sort of slogging along year to year.
Yeah. No, I think it's amazing. It's really cool. I'll want to maybe stop by and try the what was it called? Black
Black
something jam?
currants, black
Black
currant
currant
jam.
jam. Okay. I'll have to try some of that. Yeah. Well, this has been so great to hear your story and the trials and tribulations. I mean, I'm a young person with my own, my husband and I we're in the same stage of life that you were in when you bought the farm. It's cool to hear people's origin stories and the hurdles that they had to get through young in life and the setbacks, and then to come out on the other side and have such a wonderful, beautiful, growing family to show for it, and this wonderful farm that has all these different things going on. I think that's incredible. It's inspiring.
Thank you.
Well, it's been a joy to talk. Is there anything that you wanted to talk about that we didn't cover already?
No, because I didn't really have any expectations to begin.
You didn't have any. Well, I am so glad. Thank you for telling me your story and chatting with us here. Where can people find you? Tell them your website, your Instagram handles, all the places if someone wants to reach out to you or look for you.
Well, I'm a little bit of a Luddite on the Instagram and Facebook stuff, so my daughter takes care of that, so I don't know anything about it. But the website is morningshadefarm.com. Just Google that and we'll come up. And
there is an Instagram page somewhere?
Well, I don't know if there is.
Or maybe not. Maybe not.
Not that I know of. I don't know what all my daughter has done, but
Shade Farm. And if they have any inquiries, is it info@morningshade.com?
Yeah.
They can ask. Okay.
Info@morningshadefarm.com. Yeah.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, Cassie, it's been
for that. Yeah.
It's been so great talking with you. Thanks for sharing your story, and thanks for being on the Eventful Endeavors. That is a tongue twister, man. Eventful Endeavors podcast. Thank you so much for joining us today.
You're welcome.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Cassie. And that is our time here for today. And take care.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Eventful Endeavors, Secrets to Crafting the Perfect Celebration. We hope to have left you with some actionable ideas for your own event. If you like the show, please subscribe and definitely leave us a review. We read every comment. So until next time, happy planning and see you soon on Eventful Endeavors.